Warning, if you're sensitive and not aligned, please disconnect. Myself how I feel, because happiness is the mother freaking strategy, right? So if I'm feeling a certain type of way, I have to observe that, because most of us don't worry about or concern ourselves with how we feel and the thoughts that we're having. Today, I wanted to walk with you through the process in how I create. Now, these things that I'm going to be creating and manifesting are not things that I'm doing for this presentation. These are things in my real life, that we all have real life stuff. And I've never been walked through a process with a coach, an instructor, a teacher, or anything like that, where they're giving me real life stuff as they are actually going through it themselves in their lives. So I wanted to kind of be the guinea pig and allow you to see how I am choosing what techniques, what manifestation techniques I'm using to choose to manifest these things in my life. And the idea is for you to be able to have a process that you use in order to bring these things into your life. Let's backtrack. I did manifest something recently in my life that I started maybe about 30 days ago. The way that I manifested that is tapped into my image, my imagination. So every day I would take a bath at around 2 o'clock. It doesn't matter the time, it just matters the consistency. And during that bath, I would imagine a scene playing out the way that I would have it to play out, providing me the results that I wanted, right? And so a month later, everything played out the way that I wanted it to, equivalent to the way that I would have it to play out. It was a gentle shift into idealistically what I wanted. So I guess interacting with that imagination scene allowed me to be comfortable and confident with knowing that I have nothing to worry about. And that was like a Neville Goddard's technique. Neville Goddard talks a lot about the imagination, especially in the power of awareness. He talks a lot about imagination and how we can utilize it to manifest what it is that we want. And I truly enjoyed that technique. I will be including that technique in what I'm doing now, but I'll be using some other stuff too. And why? If something works, then why fix it? As creators, we get most of the way to us getting to what we want is us transforming into the person that is worthy of that in which we desire. Okay, so another way of saying that is, as a human being, what we want already exists, but we have to become the person who is worthy of what we want. There are certain experiences you have to go through in order to be up to par with that. There are certain challenges you have to overcome. There are certain beliefs that you have to knock out the way. And so the work that I'm going to be sharing today that I'm utilizing in my real life is going to help me to become sure about this thing, to make sure that this is really what I want, to evolve the picture, to evolve the story, so that I can kind of define more about what I want. Of course, Every day, all day by us living life, we're slowly defining and getting more specific about what we want. If we're smart, we tune into that. If we're not in alignment with ourselves, these things would just pass us by. And sometimes we are smart, and sometimes we are in alignment with ourselves, and we just need to stop the press, hold up, be still, open our eyes, call out what we want, realize, okay, it's time for me to change some things. Choose happiness and never give excuses. It's time for me to pivot. It's time for me to grant myself a quantum leap. And that's where I am in my life right now. I am ready to grant myself a quantum leap. And I'm going to do that right in front of you. I don't know how long this process is going to take. As far as me unraveling all of this right before your eyes, but I do plan to keep you updated with what's going on in my life, the new discoveries, the new aha moments, all of these things. I definitely want to go on this journey, and my hope is that I won't just go on this journey by myself, that you are taking things in your life, a situation at a time in your life, and you're utilizing this strategy in order to bring into fruition that in which you desire, right? Another technique that I utilize within these last 30 days that always works for me is the prayer candle technique. These are my favorite candle holders, and it says forgiveness, and under it I will put prayers. So all of these are prayers that I have under it. And I normally write thank you on my prayers. I'll write it in the inside or write it in the outside. I'll light a candle and leave the candle lit until it goes out. Once it goes out, I can choose to light another one, or I can put another prayer request in and light my candle. And I have two of these. The other one is here, and this will be like a different prayer, okay? When I state prayer requests, basically what I'm saying is I'm writing down exactly what I want and putting it under there, under the candle, with the intention of it coming into my fruition, my reality. And the light on the candle reminds me that it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I do use prayer, but not in a traditional sense. I use proclamation. So prayer and proclamation are one and the same for me. And typically, because of how I was raised, when I think of prayer, like many of you, I think of asking for something. I think of begging for something. I think of being in need. Or I think of gratitude, saying, thank you for this, thank you for this, thank you for this, but also, can you make this happen? So that is a traditional sense of prayer. That is not a sense of prayer that I use at all. I use proclamation. And proclamation says, basically, this is what I'm proclaiming to happen in my life. And I would talk to the inner part of me, talk to the God within me, the God that surrounds me in that manner, stating, this is what I'm ready to allow into my life. This is what I want to allow into my life. And it kind of gives off the sense of a prayer without asking for anything. When I write, I tap into my emotional system, my emotions, my system of emotions. And the way that I do that is I ask myself, if it's a situation, how do you want this situation to feel? I want this situation to feel fun. I want this situation to be invigorating. I want this situation to make me feel sexy. I want this. I want to feel loved. I want to feel favored. I want to feel all the ways that I want to feel. I'll write a list of words. And it doesn't matter if you're repeating the same words over. It's just creating an emotional balance, an emotional connection in between you and the words. Because everything that we want it to be happy. And happy is an emotion, right? Happy is something you be. Happy is something you feel. So we basically want to align ourselves with the emotion of that thing that we want. So in order to do that, in order to build that bridge, we create a list of words. And when we can't think of any more words, we go back to the top of the list and we look at synonyms, or we Google synonyms for this word, and we expand our vocabulary while connecting closer to that feeling that we want, right? And connecting to that feeling that we want allows us to connect to that thing. I like to do early morning meditation, and it could be sitting in silence. It could be sitting listening to Abraham Hicks or one of my other mentors, Joseph Rodriguez, or whomever. It could be sitting listening to myself, or it could be in silence. And I allow myself to connect. I meditate on the words that are being offered to me. Also, I do a meditation of thought. I observe my thought while I am doing my household chores. While I am washing the dishes, I'm observing my thoughts and asking myself how I feel, because happiness is the mother freaking strategy, right? So if I'm feeling a certain type of way, I have to observe that, because most of us don't worry about or concern ourselves with how we feel and the thoughts that we're having. But while doing that, I'm able to catch my thoughts. One of the manifestation techniques that I'm so proud that I was introduced to, as well as actually activated in my life, is seeing that thing is already done. Okay? So seeing that thing is already done. One of the things that I'm going to bring to the table, one of the situations that I'm working out in my life, is my home. My home is a rental, and the company who owns my house wants to sell my house. So they made me aware of this before they started any of the procedures or anything. And so they told me that they wanted to sell my house and that they would not be renewing my lease. Okay? And this was August, and we're now in November. Okay? So what I've done was manifested me being able to stay in my home. So I have been able to stay in my home past my lease, which was August of 2022. It was over. We're in November, and they have agreed not to sell my home before March of 2023 because of that. Because I'm just not ready to part with the space yet. And if I decide that, hey, I'm not ready to part with the space after that time, then I would just create extending it more, you know? So that is one of the beautiful manifestations that I have created in my world. And one of the ways that I did that is I acted as though it was already done. And it's not an act, but I moved forward in a way of thinking, of feeling, of believing that it was already done, because they wanted it to be over in August. And it was 30 days. It was like, okay, legally we had to tell you 30 days that, you know, we're not going to be renewing the lease, and this is the reason why. So it was like 30 days notice, okay, it's time for you to go. And I said, no, that's not how this is going to happen. I'm happy in my home. I love my home. I know that I can create something equivalent to it, but So I acted as though it was already done. So I said, this is already done. I'm going to stay in my home for as long as I want to stay in my home, and I'm not going to be controlled by some system or whatever. I'm going to move when I'm ready to move. So what did I do? I kept cleaning my house. I kept working on the backyard, planting gardens. One of the first things that I did was rearranged all the furniture in every room. So one of the first things that I did to rid myself of this negative energy, this thing that I didn't want so much that I was resisting, was I rearranged every single space in the whole entire house. Basically, acting as though what I want already existed. Like, no, I'm not accepting that. That's not what I want. So I'm going to proceed with my life as if, what would a person do if they weren't moving out of their house? They might redecorate. So I'm going to redecorate, or they might organize cabinets, and they might declutter. They might go on with their normal life as though these things were happening as they would have them to be. So, to make a long story short, that is one of the manifestation techniques that I really do use, and it is extremely powerful because it puts you in a place of power versus in a place of resistance. So these are the techniques. These are the fundamentals that one needs in order to live life the effortless way. See, we all think that it's supposed to be hard because we've been positioned to believe that it's true, that with great effort comes a wonderful manifestation. But just look around. Not everybody gives a great effort. Some things, for some people, happen the effortless way. It's not magic. It's strategy. It's technique. This is the game of life. And this is how you can successfully play it with ease. So I hope that these techniques find you with an open mind, that you are able to adopt the understanding that they can provide you the lifestyle that you want. Just accept the idea that it is possible. Once you accept the idea that it is possible for you to maneuver a beautiful life without effort, without the effort of strenuous energy and force and negativity and sacrifice, once you accept the idea, just the idea, because you really won't believe it until it happens for you, until you try it for yourself. But just embracing the idea that these concepts are possible, then, and only then, will you be tempted to test them out for yourself. And I hope that I am able to be your accountability partner and you mine, and we're able to hold each other's hands as we teeter-totter around these things and get comfortable with them. This is something new for us. I didn't grow up watching my mother and the women in my family deliberately manifest. I watch life happen a lot of times, and I also watch the struggle. And I know that was only because that was the only thing that was offered. That's what was known. It was tradition. Well, it's time for us to create a new tradition. And that tradition is considered, I call it, I am honored to study and be a part of, offering you the effortless way. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tune in to me on IG and all of the other social media platforms. Check the description box below. Support me by purchasing my book or my courses or whatever it is that I offer below. I am here to serve you. I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.